The Seattle skyline glittered through Alex's apartment window, a mosaic of lights that felt both distant and suffocating. He sat on the couch, her dress, still clinging to his body like a second skin. The silk was soft, but its weight felt heavier than ever. The phone lay silent now, its screen dark, but the image of that single high heel burned in his mind. No message. Just a thread in the shape of something he'd once coveted in secret. Jamie stood by the door, his silhouette framed against the dim hallway light. His presence was grounding, but it couldn't erase the unease curling in Alex's chest. The police had taken S away hours ago, her curses echoing down the stairwell as they led her out in handcuffs. The evidence, emails, videos, digital trails, had been enough to ensure she'd face consequences. But Alex wasn't naive. S was meticulous. She'd planned every step of this twisted game. A single arrest wouldn't end it. "You okay?" Jamie asked, his voice low but steady. Alex didn't look at him. His eyes were locked on the mirror across the room. The reflection showed Alexa, polished nails, subtle makeup, the wig's soft waves framing a face that felt both familiar and foreign. "I don't know," he admitted. "I don't know what I am anymore." Jamie crossed the room and sat beside him, careful not to crowd. "You're still you. She doesn't get to change that." Alex's lips twitched, a bitter half-smile. "Doesn't she? Look at me." He gestured to the dress, the heels still on his feet. "This wasn't me a month ago. I was just Alex. Tech support guy. Invisible. Safe." "You were never invisible," Jamie said firmly. "And safe? You were hiding. That's not the same thing." Alex's throat tightened. Jamie was right, but the truth stung. He'd spent years burying this part of himself, locking it away behind broken keyboards and dusty shoeboxes. S had ripped that lock off, exposing him to the world, and to himself. The worst part? Some twisted piece of him was grateful. Not for her cruelty, but for the push. For the mirror she'd forced him to face. His phone buzzed again. Alex flinched, his heart rate spiking. Jamie leaned forward, his jaw tight. "Don't," he said. "Let me check it." Alex shook his head. "It's her. I know it is." He grabbed the phone, his fingers trembling as he unlocked it. Another message from an unknown number. "You looked good tonight, Alexa. Keep the heels on. You'll need them for what's next." No photo this time. Just words. But they were enough to make his skin crawl. He showed the screen to Jamie, who cursed under his breath. "She's still out there," Alex whispered. "Or someone is." Jamie's eyes narrowed. "She's in custody." This could be a scheduled message. Something she set up before we got her. "Or she's not working alone," Alex said, his voice barely audible. The thought had been lurking in the back of his mind since the first package arrived. S was manipulative, but she wasn't omnipotent. The cameras, the deliveries, the precision, it felt too big for one person. Jamie stood, pacing again. "We need to sweep this place. If there's a camera, we'll find it. And we need to get your devices to my guy. He's good, better than me. He'll trace where these messages are coming from." Alex nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He stood and walked to the mirror, his heels clicking softly on the hardwood. The reflection stared back, unyielding. Alexa, the name S had given him, the one he hadn't chosen but couldn't shake. It fit too well, like a glove he'd been afraid to try on. "What are you thinking?" Jamie asked, watching him closely. Alex touched the mirror, his polished nails catching the light. "I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to go back." Jamie's brow furrowed. Back to what? To being just Alex. To pretending this part of me doesn't exist. He turned to face Jamie, his voice steady despite the fear clawing at him. "She forced me into this, yeah. But now that I'm here, I don't know if I can unsee it." Jamie didn't respond right away. He looked at Alex, not with judgment but with something like understanding. "Then don't," he said finally. "But do it for you, not her. She doesn't get to own this." Alex nodded, but the words felt distant. The truth was, he didn't know where S's control ended and his own desires began. The line had blurred, and that scared him more than the messages. The next morning, Alex woke to the sound of Jamie rummaging through the apartment. He was in the kitchen, a screwdriver in one hand, a flashlight in the other, inspecting every corner like a man possessed. Alex rubbed his eyes, the weight of last night's events settling over him like a fog. He was still in the robe, though he'd taken off the heels. His feet ached, a reminder of how unfamiliar this body still felt. "Find anything?" Alex asked, his voice hoarse. Jamie shook his head. "Nothing yet. No cameras, no bugs. But I'm not done." He paused, glancing at Alex. "You sleep okay?" "Barely." Alex shuffled to the coffee maker, avoiding the mirror. He didn't want to see Alexa right now. Not until he could sort through the chaos in his head. Jamie set down the screwdriver and leaned against the counter. "I called my guy. He's free this afternoon. We'll take your laptop and phone to him, get a full scan. If she's got spyware, we'll find it." "And if she doesn't?" Alex asked, pouring coffee he knew he wouldn't drink. "What if this is just her, still pulling strings from wherever she is?" "Then we figure out who's helping her," Jamie said. "Because you're right. She can't be doing this alone. Not from a holding cell." Alex nodded, but doubt gnawed at him. S had always been one step ahead. Even when they were together, she'd had a way of anticipating his thoughts, his moves. It was part of what had drawn him to her, and part of what had made her so dangerous. The day passed in a blur of tension. Jamie's friend, a wiry guy named Marcus with a penchant for energy drinks and conspiracy theories, arrived at noon. He set up shop in Alex's living room, his laptop glowing with lines of code Alex couldn't begin to understand. "Your ex is a piece of work," Marcus said, his eyes glued to the screen. "I've seen some creepy stuff, but this? Next-level obsession." Alex sat across from him, picking at his nails. The polish was starting to chip, a small rebellion against the perfection S had demanded. "Can you find where the messages are coming from?" Marcus grinned, cracking his knuckles. "Oh, I'll find it. She's good, but I'm better." Hours later, Marcus leaned back, his expression grim. "Okay, here's the deal. Your phone and laptop are clean, no spyware, no tracking apps. But those messages? They're coming from a burner phone. Untraceable, at least for now. Whoever's sending them is routing through a VPN, bouncing the signal all over the globe. I'd need more time to pin it down." Alex's stomach sank. "So, we're back to square one." "Not quite," Marcus said. "I found something else. Your apartment's Wi-Fi has been accessed by an unknown device. Someone's been piggybacking on your network. Could be how they're getting eyes on you." Jamie cursed. "A camera. Has to be." Marcus shook his head. "Not necessarily. Could be something as simple as a smart device, your TV, your thermostat. Anything with a mic or a camera. You got anything like that?" Alex's eyes widened. "The smart bulb. In the living room." Jamie was already on his feet, unscrewing the bulb from the lamp. He held it up, inspecting it closely. "Looks normal," but he handed it to Marcus, who plugged it into a small device connected to his laptop. "Bingo," Marcus said after a moment. "This thing's been modified. It's got a tiny camera embedded. Streams directly to an external server. Low res, but enough to see you moving around." Alex felt sick. "She's been watching me from my own light bulb?" Marcus nodded. "It's clever. Most people don't think to check something like that." Jamie crushed the bulb under his heel, the glass crunching against the floor. "We're done playing her game." But Alex wasn't so sure. The bulb was gone, but the messages kept coming. And that photo of the high heel, it hadn't been taken in his apartment. It was somewhere else. Somewhere dark. The next few days were a haze of paranoia and preparation. Jamie stayed over, sleeping on the couch, his presence a lifeline Alex clung to. They swept the apartment again, finding no more cameras but unplugging every smart device just to be safe. Marcus worked remotely, trying to trace the burner phone's signal, but the trail was cold. Alex, meanwhile, couldn't stop looking at the clothes. The dresses, the blouses, the heels, they were still there, neatly arranged in his closet. Part of him wanted to burn them, to erase every trace of S's influence. But another part, the part that had stood in the mirror and felt alive, couldn't let go. He started dressing again. Not because of her threats, but because he wanted to. Each time he slipped into a skirt or applied mascara, it felt less like a performance and more like him. Or her. Alexa wasn't just a name S had imposed anymore. It was a possibility. A truth he was starting to embrace. Jamie noticed. He didn't say much, but his glances were softer now, less worried. One evening, as Alex adjusted a wig in the mirror, Jamie spoke up. "You're different when you're her." Alex paused, his hands still in the wig's curls. "Different how?" "Calmer. Like you're not fighting yourself anymore." Alex didn't know how to respond. He turned back to the mirror, studying his reflection. The woman staring back wasn't perfect, but she was real. And she was him. That night, another package arrived. No note, just a single item. A delicate silver necklace with a small heart-shaped pendant. Alex held it up, the metal catching the light. It was beautiful, understated, exactly his taste. And that made it all the more terrifying. "She's still out there," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Jamie took the necklace, inspecting it. No tracker, no camera. Just jewelry. He handed it back. "What do you want to do with it?" Alex hesitated, then slipped it around his neck. The pendant rested against his collarbone. Cool and grounding. "I'm keeping it," he said. "Not because she sent it. Because I like it." Jamie smiled, a rare flicker of warmth. That's the spirit. But the peace didn't last. The next morning, Alex woke to a new message. "The necklace suits you, Alexa. Wear it to work tomorrow. Let's see how brave you are." Work. The one place Alex had kept separate from this chaos. The one place where he was still just Alex, the tech support guy who blended into the background. The thought of walking into that office as Alexa, nails, makeup, heels, made his stomach churn. "She can't make me do this," he said, more to himself than to Jamie. "Then don't," Jamie said. "But if you do, do it for you." Alex spent the rest of the day wrestling with the decision. He practiced walking in heels, adjusting his posture, softening his voice. He watched tutorials, not out of fear but out of curiosity. How far could he take this? How real could Alexa become? By evening, he'd made up his mind. The office building loomed like a monolith, its glass facade reflecting the gray Seattle sky. Alex stood across the street, his heart pounding. He wore a tailored blazer, a knee-length skirt, and the heels S had sent. The wig was styled neatly, his makeup subtle but deliberate. The necklace gleamed at his throat. He'd told Jamie he was doing this for himself, but the truth was murkier. Part of him wanted to prove he wasn't afraid. Part of him wanted to see if he could pass, not just as a woman but as Alexa, the person he'd glimpsed in the mirror. He took a deep breath and crossed the street. The office was quieter than usual, most of the team working remotely. Alex's desk was in the back, tucked behind a partition, which gave him some cover. But he still had to walk past the receptionist, past the break room, past the handful of colleagues who were in today. The receptionist, Lisa, looked up as he entered. Her eyes widened slightly, but she recovered quickly. "Morning. New look?" Alex forced a smile, his voice soft but steady. "Yeah, trying something different." Lisa nodded, her smile genuine. "It suits you." He kept walking, his heels clicking on the tile. No one else said anything. A few glances, a couple of double takes, but no laughter. No whispers. By the time he reached his desk, his hands were shaking, but he felt alive. Like he'd crossed a threshold he couldn't uncross. The day passed uneventfully. He answered tickets, fixed bugs, drank coffee. The usual. But every time he caught his reflection in his monitor, he saw Alexa. And it didn't feel wrong. Then, at 3 p.m., an email arrived. From an internal address, but not one he recognized. "You're braver than I thought. But bravery has a price. Check your drawer." Alex's heart sank. He opened his desk drawer slowly, half expecting another package. Instead, there was a single photo. Him, in the office, taken from behind. The angle was from the security camera above his desk. She was still watching. He forwarded the email to Jamie, who was waiting outside in his car. Within minutes, Jamie was in the office, talking to the IT manager about accessing the security footage. They found nothing, no unauthorized access, no unusual activity. But the photo was real. Someone had been in the system. That night, Alex and Jamie sat in the apartment, poring over every detail. The messages, the packages, the photo, they were pieces of a puzzle, but the picture was still unclear. "She's not just trying to scare me," Alex said, his voice low. "She's trying to reshape me, to make me into something she can control." Jamie nodded. "Then we need to find her weak spot. Everyone's got one." Alex looked at the necklace, still around his neck. "Maybe we already have it." The plan was simple but dangerous. Alex would keep playing her game, but on his terms. He'd respond to her messages, wear what she sent, go where she told him. But every step would be calculated, every move tracked. Jamie and Marcus would monitor everything, looking for patterns, slip-ups, anything that could lead them to S, or whoever was pulling the strings. The next package arrived the following morning. A deep blue dress, elegant and understated, with a note. "Wear this to the gala tonight. You'll be the belle of the ball." A gala. Alex's company was hosting a charity event downtown, one he'd planned to skip. But now, it seemed, he had no choice. Jamie frowned. "This is too public. She's escalating." Alex nodded, but his mind was racing. A gala meant people, lots of them. It meant exposure, but it also meant opportunity. If S was there, or if someone was acting on her behalf, they might slip up. And Alex was ready to catch them. He spent the day preparing. The dress fit perfectly, hugging his body in a way that made him feel both vulnerable and powerful. He practiced his makeup, his walk, his voice. By the time evening came, he was Alexa, fully, unapologetically. The gala was held in a sleek downtown hotel, all glass and chandeliers. Alex walked in, his heart pounding but his head held high. Heads turned, but not in mockery. Some smiled, others nodded. A few whispered, but it didn't feel malicious. It felt curious. He scanned the room, looking for anything out of place. Jamie was there too, blending in as a guest, his eyes sharp. Marcus was outside, monitoring the hotel's Wi-Fi for any unusual activity. Halfway through the evening, Alex's phone buzzed. A new message. "You're stunning. Dance with someone. Show me your mine." Alex's stomach twisted, but he didn't hesitate. He approached a colleague, a quiet guy named Tom who'd always been kind. "Want to dance?" he asked, his voice steady. Tom blinked, surprised, but nodded. "Sure." They moved to the dance floor, Alex's heels clicking softly. He felt eyes on him, but he didn't care. For the first time, he wasn't hiding. He was Alexa, and he was in control. The night ended without incident. No sign of S, no new threats. But as Alex and Jamie left the hotel, a new message arrived. "You're learning, but you're not free yet." Attached was a video. Alex, dancing with Tom, captured from a balcony above the ballroom. She was still watching. The next week was a blur of messages, packages, and fear. S's grip tightened, her demands growing bolder. A new outfit every day. A new place to go. A new piece of Alex's identity to surrender. But with each step, he grew more confident. More himself, or herself. Alexa wasn't just a role anymore. She was real, and she was fighting back. Jamie and Marcus worked tirelessly, tracing signals, hacking into servers, following leads. They found a pattern. The messages were being routed through a series of proxy servers, but one kept popping up, a small data center in Bellevue. It wasn't much, but it was a start. "We need to go there," Jamie said. "If we can access their logs, we might find her." Alex nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He looked at the latest package, a pair of diamond stud earrings, delicate and perfect. He put them on, not because S told him to, but because he wanted to. And that was when he realized. He wasn't just fighting her. He was fighting for himself. The data center was a nondescript building, all concrete and security cameras. Marcus got them inside with a fake maintenance badge, and they spent hours combing through logs. They found it, a single IP address linked to the burner phone. It led to an apartment just outside Seattle. They drove there in silence, Alex in the passenger seat, still wearing the blue dress from the gala. The apartment was empty when they arrived, but the signs were there. A laptop, a stack of burner phones, a notebook filled with dates and addresses. S's handwriting. She was here, Alex said, his voice shaking. This was her base. Jamie nodded, flipping through the notebook. Look at this. It's a schedule. Every move you made, every package she sent, it's all here. But something was off. The dates went back months before the breakup. Before the first package. S had been planning this for longer than Alex had realized. Then they found the photos. Dozens of them, printed and pinned to a corkboard. Alex in his apartment, in the cafe, in the salon. But there were others, older photos. Alex at work, at home, with S. Moments he hadn't known were being watched. She was stalking you, Jamie said, his voice low. This wasn't just revenge. This was obsession. Alex's knees buckled. He sank into a chair, the weight of it all crashing down. Why me? Jamie didn't have an answer. But he didn't need to. The truth was in the photos, in the notebook, in the messages. S hadn't just wanted to control him. She'd wanted to own him. The police were called again, this time with enough evidence to ensure S wouldn't walk free anytime soon. The apartment, the notebook, the photos, it was damning. But Alex knew it wasn't over. Not yet. That night, back in his apartment, he sat at the vanity. The mirror showed Alexa, confident, beautiful, real. He didn't feel like a victim anymore. He felt like someone who'd survived. His phone buzzed. One last message. You can't escape me. You're Alexa now. I made you. Alex stared at the words, his heart steady for the first time in weeks. He typed a reply. You didn't make me. I did. He hit send, then blocked the number. Jamie watched from the doorway. You okay? Alex smiled, a real smile.
Yeah.
I think I am. He stood, the dress swishing around his legs. The heels felt natural now, the wig like an extension of himself. He wasn't just Alex anymore. He wasn't just Alexa either. He was both and neither, and something entirely new. The mirror reflected it all. The fear, the strength, the truth. S had tried to break him. But in the end, she'd only set him free. Months later, Alex walked through the park where it had all started. The willow tree still stood, its branches swaying in the breeze. He wore a simple sundress, his hair, now his own, grown out and styled, catching the sunlight. The necklace still hung around his neck, a reminder of the battle he'd fought and won. Jamie walked beside him, their conversation light, easy. The nightmare was over. S was gone, her influence reduced to a shadow. But Alexa wasn't. She was part of him now, woven into his identity in a way he'd never expected. You ever think about going back? Jamie asked, his tone casual. Alex laughed softly. To what? The old Alex? He's still here. But so is she. He looked out at the horizon, the city sprawling before him. For the first time in years, he felt whole. Not because of S, not because of the clothes or the makeup, but because he'd chosen himself. The mirror had shown him the truth, and he was ready to live it,